Alright guys, Catch here and I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far after the Neptune related drama that unfolded on the main stage during the grand finals with these spots that he was pulling out. Neptune responds to the OpTic fans and gives some thoughts on how things would be different if it was Shotzzy on the other side of this equation, also giving a lot of thoughts on the weekend in general, some of the drama that stopped him, we think, getting onto a team like FaZe or Thieves this season and what that's meant for the Gentlemates going forward. So I want some Twitter your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. Lots to get into. We're going to start with the Major 1 viewership breakdown. Now, look, has the CDL done much to help competitive Call of Duty in recent years? No. There are lots of problems with the state of the league, the way that we should be doing things different. I think every year we've had a very teeny tiny step slightly in the right direction, and sometimes we've had some steps back that we've had as well. But the reality is that COD is in a healthier place right now than it has been for some time competitively. This game, people enjoy watching it and playing it competitively. The sales aren't very good, so what that means for the future in terms of what next year's game's going to look like, that's a different question. But in terms of the state of the competitive scene, Challenges is in the best spot that it's been in ever, right? Obviously, back in the day, everything used to be combined. It wasn't really like there was a Pro League and Challenges in quite the same way. But anyway, for the CDL era, certainly the best that Challenges has been. Stallions, Huntsman, Bush, Omit, Falcons Academy, etc. All sorts of teams down there. It's been fantastic entertainment, that is for sure. And in the Pro League, we also have a similar position when some of the Poppers Yorks, although there are still some, they are now gone. And on the top level, Gentlemates have come in and brought in an incredible fan base and engagement. And of course, they've got their own events coming up later this year, which is very exciting indeed. The peak viewership here for presumably the grand finals, 353,000 views, which is basically an all-time record, certainly for a major tournament. I think, and of course this counts all the watch parties. So, and Gataga was doing a bit of streaming last year, but of course her team wasn't very good, so the numbers weren't quite the same. Whereas Gentlemates now being a good team, making the finals, being there in person, of course OpTic being in said finals, to have 340,000 for the other series, you know, even the Gentlemates versus FaZe series, to make the grand finals had 330 plus. Even FaZe versus G2 to start off the championship Sunday, 260 thousand viewers. Like, that's an incredible number for a match that doesn't include OpTic and doesn't include Gentlemates, right? So it's great to see the energy, certainly for the championship Sunday. It was fantastic to watch there in person as well. And the peak's up 120k compared to this time last year. The average is up 65k, which is actually pretty huge compared to last year as well. Averaged about 178,000 viewers all tournament. Great stuff to see, and it raises questions on where we go from here. Because if you look in the replies, the peak viewership all time was Champs last year at 353,000 peak viewers. And, well, we basically got to that here at the first major of the season. I can't imagine if we get an OpTic versus Paris finals in Paris, if we get it at Champs. You know, it's just good to see, given Gentlemates and Gataga and all that's come in, but also just the general energy around the scene is in a better spot than we've been in, I think, for some time. Speaking of Gentlemates, they did say this, it's just our first year in the CDL. Look at us go now. I think this is said slightly tongue-in-cheek, although maybe they do believe it, because, yeah, Gentlemates were here last year, but it was Los Angeles Guerrillas mates. So, did that count? I don't know. To me, it counted, right? Like, I'm not forgetting that Gentlemates were represented. Gataga was running the watch party, you see, to see the boys get slammed every weekend. So, look, they can say it's just our first year with the league, but I don't know, I'm not forgetting last year that quickly. But, of course, the fans should, and for good reason, because now they are the best team in the game. Prizing, Paris, they take the dub, 150k. It's like, these numbers go down every year. This year they're actually the same as last year, but, you know, inflation adjusted in real terms, the prize money has been going down every year for some time. Of course, the 4 teams that didn't make any money, they're not appearing on this list anyway. We talked about some of the roster changes that they might need to make earlier on today. Speaking of the state of the league, because as I say, the league itself has not done a massive amount to really help the state of competitive COD, I think. They've been fortunate that we have great personalities, we have great individuals involved on the business side, of the content creation side, that's helped push this and drag Call of Duty kicking and screaming into the point of being in a better spot as an esport than we were a couple of years back. Simp also talks about this. He sat down with Hitch on the Around the Bar and said, I miss the pool play. A bad team could make the event and have a chance at upsetting you. I miss the extra matches, having a team catch fire. That's the thing for FaZe. They played tons of games this weekend. Loads of matches, loads of maps, loads of game 5s. They were playing difficult series against teams like G2, against Gentlemates, some banger matches they eventually played. And they were able to, I'm sure he enjoyed that. Of course, this is recorded before the weekend was over. But I'm sure he enjoyed that, wow, we're making a run, kind of catching fire. The pros want to play more, generally. And that's true in the online sense and in the LAN sense. As he says, now you play one match a day. I just think the format of you win on Thursday, you don't even play on Friday. It is just so dead. Back in the day, it used to be a 3-day tournament. And in addition to running the bracket, they ran all the qualifiers too. The pool play used to be the qualifiers. They ran that on Friday, Saturday morning, and then the bracket was Saturday afternoon and Sunday. So, look, and of course to do that, you would run multiple stages at the same time. And I was thinking about this being at the venue this weekend. I was like, this venue setup is great. We've got one big stage in the middle, circular stage, the teams face off against each other, all the fans are around the stage. If we needed to have a Bravo station, a Charlie station, Delta station, whatever, to play the other games simultaneously, I don't know if that works so easily in the venues that we now often like to go to. Now, maybe if they change the format, we'd choose different venues. But the venues that are, like hockey stadiums or basketball stadiums or whatever, they work well for one stage in the center and the crowd surrounds everything. Whereas back in the day, like at Anaheim or something, it would just be a massive hall, and then you'd set up one end would be where the main stage was, and then to the side of it, you would have all the other stations, and people could kind of filter and mingle around, because it would just be one kind of flat warehouse type thing. Whereas it doesn't maybe work quite so well to come up with that. So I do think that there are some considerations if we want to bring back condensing everything more and having multiple games, because you'd have to find a way to have a Bravo station in a way that fans could actually watch and enjoy. Some questions on that. Simp did talk about the whole Scump thing as well, because when Simp first came in, it was like, damn, this kid the new Scump? Because also, Simp, he doesn't stream that often nowadays, but I used to watch his streams back in Black Ops 3. He is an entertaining character, but look, no one ever was going to be the next Scump anyway. Times changed in Call of Duty, and at some point he decided, well, I'm not even decided, but he just realised it made more sense to just be himself, right? And still, arguably the best player in the game, Simp, you could say right now, which shouldn't come as a surprise to too many of us. Now, let's talk about Neptune and the drama. This, I don't think it's a real image, by the way. I think this is like an adapted image, because there's no way he would still be there with all the lights up in the building. I think it's an adapted one from this. But regardless, he's been grinding, and, well, you can see that he's been grinding because some of the spots that he was pulling out this last weekend, this was just an insane moment to witness on LAN. The 1v3, another clutch to gun down Drazah, go to the round 11, to win the round 11 anyway. They would have been knocked out of the tournament right then and there, but Gentlemates make it through to the finals, and of course they went on to win it. But Neptune was a point of controversy because of the jump spots and what he was pulling out in the grand final. And, well, he shows off one of them again here in a second. So, he gives his thoughts on whether he thinks this is reasonable or not, and he says, look, there's absolutely no problem with this. I think Karma even said on stream that Shotzzy and Huke were also aware of these spots. They decided not to use them, but it's not like it was only Neptune that came up and found these things, and I'm sure there are other ideas as well on other maps that Neptune and other players also have in mind. Neptune gives a few thoughts and basically says, if this was Shotzzy doing it, he'd be like, damn, that's so clean, wow, and isn't he so godlike finding all these spots, right? That was kind of Neptune's perspective on how people would have reacted, whereas when he did it, people are like, oh, is this a forfeit or something? I don't really think anyone was, like, seriously talking about getting forfeited. We do understand that, well, Pred literally told me after their series against Cloud9 that they were trying to get them forfeited for that Kismet spot. But, that was deemed fair enough by the referees. I think there's a question on whether some of these ideas should be GA'd. And, it definitely doesn't seem like an intended spot from the developers. So there is a big question to be had on whether these are glitches and whether they should be banned. But, Neptune knows the rules. He knows what he can and cannot get away with. And he's going to pull some of this stuff out. He also says, well, I didn't kill anyone there anyway. I don't always think that's a great argument. It's like, yeah, sure, in this case you didn't get an advantage from it necessarily, but if it was let's say, a glitch spot and was illegal and was enough to get you like forfeited, then the defense of, oh, I didn't get a kill from it doesn't really fly. So I'm not saying that there was any issue with this. I'm just saying that in the case that we were talking about a forfeit situation here, the defense of like, oh, I didn't kill anyone, it doesn't really matter because you've intentionally used a spot which is illegal at that point. But Neptune knows that this is not illegal, he can get away with it, and, well, he thinks that if Shotzzy were to do it, then he would be getting glazed heavily.
I stair glitching this one, right? I laid down, and I got up right away. Didn't even kill anyone. Didn't even kill anybody, by the way. Didn't even get someone one shot. OpTic fans just don't fuck with it because, bro, there ain't no one else doing it like that, bro. Motherfuckers are mind blown that, like, I know more spots than he does right now in the game. No offense, but, like, I'm just keeping it a buck. I feel like he would probably say the same thing. And I've always tipped that about Ant too. He's just like a student of the game. Like, no bull. I fuck with Shotzzy heavy. This has nothing to do with like me and Shotzzy, like anything like that. Like personally, I'm just saying for the fans. I'm talking about the fans. I'm saying that if Shotzzy did it, the fans would be like, oh, like no, that was clean. Like what? You know, like they wouldn't even think about it. They wouldn't even second guess what he's doing, like if it's a jump spot or some shit. But if I do it, all of a sudden, motherfuckers are talking about me getting forfeited. Like, bruh, do y'all even know the rules? Do y'all even know the esport? Once again, I'll clarify it. This has nothing to do, because I already know how motherfuckers be spinning that narrative and shit. Nothing to do with me and Shotzzy. I got nothing but respect for him. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, all of a sudden whenever I pull out my bag, only because you texted people after champs to the team, everyone. Yeah, exactly, bro. And the thing is, I only did it because I'm not gonna, like, I'm way past all that, bro. I'm way past all of it. But I'm not gonna name anybody. But there was other people on my team that I heard about was doing it first. You know, at EWC. Or no, okay, so once again, I'm not going to name anyone. But there was people on the team that were in talks with other people after champs. Like, right after champs ended. And I didn't know about that. And then, of course, like, at that point, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was someone who always advocated, like, yo, bro, like, we need to start being a team again.
The other Neptune-related drama, though, of course, is the fact that he just slammed FaZe in that Game 5 on the Colossus to take them down, knock them out of the tournament. He could have been on FaZe, right? That was an option. Now, does 04 match Simp quite well? I think so far we've seen that that is true. FaZe could easily have, won this event or certainly made the grand finals as well. They will definitely feel that they should have done, right? It's 5-2 Game 5 is outrageous, certainly to lose the rounds that they eventually did. But we believe that one of the reasons why Neptune is not on FaZe is because there was this rumour that he was kind of trying to sketch on his boys, right? Before the season was over, talking to other teams and all this. It was a big narrative that was shared during the off-season, and I don't know if there's actually a clip of this, but I think Kason said something like, you're not going to be part of FaZe with that attitude, or something like this anyway. So Neptune says, look, it weren't just me. In fact, it was actually my boys first. They were trying to sketch. Not sketch exactly, because those guys knew that org was cooked. They knew that Surge were not staying together. They knew that team was going to collapse in the off-season. They were in their right mind, for sure, to speak to other franchises. And Neptune, therefore, started doing the same. But he was the one who got kind of given this narrative that he was, maybe not the best teammate, or like not necessarily on board with the winning mentality. He was just trying to get the best possible situation for himself and all this stuff. So Neptune, though, says, look, that's not even true. So maybe in hindsight, FaZe could have got Neptune. But as it turned out, it might well work out for pretty much all parties. So, look, intrigued to your thoughts, as always, and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.